All right, StockPulse here in Vancouver at the International Mining Investment Conference, and I've got the Chief Executive, Bluebird Battery Metals, that's Peter Ball. Hey Peter, good to see you.
Good morning, Rob, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Hey, I'm going to be talking with the president a little later here. Alf's going to dig deep into the story, but this one's a little bit of a name change here. Why don't you kind of run through what's going on here at Bluebird?
Yeah, thanks, Rob. Over the last month or 6 weeks, what we've done to Bluebird Battery Metals is we changed the name from Golden Peak Minerals. We were focused on Ontario, but we recognized an opportunity in the battery metal sector, more focused on nickel, cobalt, and copper. So it's been a busy last 6 weeks. We did a strategic financing down at 12 cents. We brought in some strategic investors really looking and wanting to support what we'll be doing here over the next, through 2018. So we changed the name to Bluebird Battery Metals. We changed the symbol to BATT. I recently came on as the chairman and chief executive officer. We added a gentleman, Mr. Alf Stewart, long career in the investment banking, brokerage industry, and also geologist as our president and lead frontman for the company. We also recently added a gentleman, Terry Topping, to the board of directors. He's the executive chairman of Kairos Minerals out of Australia. We also have another lead technical director, Mr. Wes Hansen, out of Ontario. He comes from a long career. He used to actually be the vice president of technical services for Kinross. So we're focused on a number of projects. We acquired a project in the Yukon. It actually master symbol called the BATT project. Alf will dive in a little bit deeper. It had grades of up to 0.65% cobalt. Interesting project right off the highway, one of the best places in Canada to ever push forward on an exploration or to understand a project. We acquired it through a deal with Strategic Metals out of Vancouver, the Arthur Cathro Group, which has been in the Yukon for 40-some years. Great group. They're going to lead the exploration activities. We'll be up on that project in July. Alf will dive in a little bit more on that. And also recently, in the last few weeks, we acquired another project, nickel, cobalt, copper, called the Cane Grass Project down in Australia. We'll be actively pursuing geophysics and pushing forward to a drill program in the summer. We're also just down in the project. We wanted to get boots on the ground, take a look at the project, review our strategy with the exploration team down in Australia. But also, Bluebird's about becoming one of the leaders in the cobalt, nickel, copper, battery metal space. We're aggressively looking at other projects to acquire and to really add to the table of what Bluebird really has. It's a tight company right now, trades at about 33 cents. Last week we were about 25, the week before that 20, and we did a strategic financing at 12. So we're really making some moves. It's about 38 million shares out, market cap about 10 or 11. We're looking to be one of the leaders in the space. It's the right time, it's the right commodity. We have the right team in place. We're going to look to beef up the board of directors, beef up the management team, get active on our projects. We're not going to sit around there, and bring in strategic investors along the way as we push forward. But I'll pass it back to you. I know you want to get a hold of Alf. He's at the show here also with me. Alf can dive in deeper about what we're going to do with the projects, and actually dive in a little bit deeper about the EV revolution, the electrical vehicles, with the demand and the gap that we see happening in the cobalt space over the next few years.
Well, I appreciate the update. That's BATT on the venture, folks. Bluebird Battery Metals, Inc. Peter Ball, Chief Executive. Thanks for the time, Peter.
Thanks, Rob.
Okay, StockPulse back here again in Vancouver, International Mining Investment Conference, and I've got Alf Stewart, and he is the president of Bluebird Battery Metals, Inc. That's BATT on the venture. Alf, good to see you.
Thank you.
So I had a pretty good chat with your CEO, Peter Ball, and he laid out a very good update. Why don't you get a little more intimate here? This battery metals market, really interesting. Why don't you lay out the finer workings of the company?
Okay, Bluebird is trying to participate in the emerging demand for battery materials. We believe that transportation is going to be revolutionized over the next 4 to 5 years because transportation is going to shift from internal combustion engine vehicles to electric vehicles. And this is being led by what China is doing. China's got an industrial policy called 2025, and they want to be world leaders in electric vehicles and autonomous driving. China's mandated that in 2019, 10% of their cars must be clean energy vehicles. In other words, electric vehicles or fuel cell vehicles. So right now, China's market is 3% electric vehicles. Next year, it will be 10%. We believe that demand is going to stimulate the demand for battery materials. What are battery materials? things like cobalt, lithium, nickel, copper, and manganese. So we've studied this market, and we think that the most exciting part of the market is the demand for cobalt and high purity nickel. And we have projects in Australia and in the Yukon that we hope to develop those commodities.
Let's dig in a little deeper here to Australia. Talk about that project a little bit.
Okay, I just got back from Australia. We visited our Canegrass property. We have exploration crews on the ground right now doing ground surveys, and we're preparing to do a major drill program in July looking for nickel and cobalt.
And we mentioned the Yukon here earlier here, Peter Ball did. Why don't you talk about the Yukon?
Okay, our Yukon property, we intend to get on the property in July once the snow is melted. It's a very large property. There's a 3-kilometer long zone of Gossan, and we're going to do soil surveys and prospecting over that. We know there's a couple of cobalt showings on the ground, but otherwise the ground hasn't been touched in many, many years.
So new name change, very busy.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, well, we'll keep our eye on this one here. Thanks for the update, Alf. All right, Bluebird Battery Metals, folks. BATT on the venture. Thanks for the time, Alf.
Thank you.